And we're on.
What's up?
Yeah. What's up? We were just talking about Agent Zero off the air, Zero Rings, that is. Getting a chance to talk about him for the early going. And as you can
Agent
see,
Zero rings.
Bias is saluting my man with two hands this time. So, yeah, he was
Punk
getting
ass
it.
dissing Akeem Olajuwon, talking about why people going to him to learn or whatever. What is he throwing shade at Akeem because nobody goes to Agent Zero rings for help?
They'll go to him for target practice. Why not?
Yeah, the original John Morant, bring your weapon to the stadium with you.
Yeah. And he was proud of that nonsense. But why would anybody talk any nonsense about Hakeem Olajuwon? That guy hasn't done anything or said anything to anybody. And people are coming to him. It's not like he's telling these guys to come to him. These
Right.
guys see his legacy. Big men who want to be like him have the footwork because to this day, I don't think a big man still has had the footwork that he's had. They're coming to him asking for some tips. Why the hell not? And you're having the best in the world. Giannis is the latest.
Yeah, I mean, throwing shade at Akeem, there's no reason for that, man. That's uncalled for, and he's coming off as a salty ass little sissy whiny hoe.
And where did this all come from? He had a
He
very
has a
good career.
podcast and a microphone, and he needs attention.
Yeah,
So he's just
everybody has
saying,
one now.
I don't know. He's more extreme than Skip Bayless's crazy talking ass.
But at least Skip Bayless has some type of mastery of the media and knows how to go about it and get these people to react because of something visceral. Agent Zero, he's going out there with real bitterness and real intent to make someone feel bad. And that's what he's been doing.
I don't know. The crazy thing is, like, I've seen him in interviews. He seems intelligent. He's just not acting intelligent.
No, exactly. He does seem intelligent throughout his career. When he's spoken, he's seen him intelligent. But when you see the things that he does, like bringing guns into the locker room, those things aren't intelligent. But whatever, just something else to keep his name out there. Isn't he like a fringe Hall of Famer anyway?
I don't know. I mean, it's like every other week he's saying something about someone. Like Robert Ory's rings don't matter now. Yeah,
Man,
because you don't have any. They
exactly.
don't matter to you.
If
But
he
I
had
bet
one
you, I
ring,
bet you, he'd love to trade places and have those 7 rings.
I was about to say, if he had one ring and still have the reputation that he has right now, he wouldn't say anything like that. Robert Ory can have all the rings he had and be that situational player that he was. He made it count. And people remember Big Shot Bob because of it. Agent Zero had a better overall game, better overall player than Robert Ory, but no rings. And people know that and they remember that. You don't get a name like Agent Zero Rings for no reason. You have no rings.
Well, he wouldn't have it. I wouldn't have created that if he didn't. If he didn't this guy, this that guy, this like if he wasn't doing what he's doing, I would have never thought of it. But
Yeah.
I gotta call him something because he's acting a fool. But there's no doubt, like if I'm starting a team and the last 2 players and I have the second to last pick are Gilbert Arenas and Robert Ory, I'm gonna take Agent Zero rings.
Of course, yeah.
But
And try to get him a ring.
that's not throwing shade at Robert Ory because he just about hit every big shot he took when it counted, man.
He did.
That's how you get the name Big Shot Bob.
And the thing about it,
I mean, and Gilbert Arenas' name, what does it mean? It's just his jersey number. He's Agent Zero.
that's
Big
it.
deal. But Big Shot Bob, it's because he made big shots.
And Robert Ory accepts his role as an NBA player. He's never gone out there. I don't think he's even talked about being a star big shot player. He just said he made the shots when he had gotten the opportunity. He doesn't go about this as if he's the end all be all like Agent Zero or even other players who might have had the same kind. Well, no one has the same background or pedigree of what Robert Ory has done, when it came down to it. But Robert Ory, he's like, yo, bro, I don't belong in the Hall of Fame. His ego's not that ridiculous, even with the rings and why he's gotten those rings. He doesn't act like he belongs in the Hall of Fame. He's the consummate role player. He came in to play his role. And because of that, well, Robert Ory's known as Big Shot Bob.
But you know me, I'm from the school of don't tell me what you did, tell me when you did it.
Yep.
Robert Ory, man, it doesn't matter what he did, it's when he did it.
Well, something else that happened and was done was yesterday, Monday Night Football, closing out the NFL's second week. Well, 2 Monday night games for that, but the primary game, I believe, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns.
Did anybody watch the Saints and Panthers?
That's what I'm saying, the primary game, because the Saints and the Panthers, I don't even think they were playing because I don't think David Carr showed up. looking
Man,
at those
I
numbers.
got mad when they did the split screen. I'm like, man, why you splitting the screen? I don't want to watch that trash.
Well, you know what? I remember when OJ was getting chased back in the day, and they had the NBA Finals on with the Knicks and the Houston Rockets, and they put a split screen on picture in picture with the game being in the small picture. It's a,
Yeah,
bro,
but
come on, give me a
but,
break. But
but
that's what it
no
was.
no
It got me over.
commentary in the game. The game was secondary. I was like, man, this is bogus.
That's
I mean,
craziness.
but man, just cut in when they catch him.
But the
Why do
majority
I
of
just
people,
see the car going down the freeway? What? That's not entertaining. This is
the
the NBA
majority of people
Finals.
wanted to see that.
I
I mean,
guess, man. But
as a Knicks fan, I wanted to see
as a
Nick try
sports
to get a
fan,
championship.
as a sports fan, yeah, I get it's OJ sports related, but hey, man, it's the NBA Finals. It's not like a Tuesday
Exactly.
night in February.
But that's what it was, and that's how they took care of it. It was funny back then, and I still just think about it now. Like, man, they just completely disrespected the NBA Finals, man. This is a tape delay, like back in the 70s. This is a legitimate game. But
Yep.
back to the Steelers, they win 26-22. They show that, well, the Steelers are still on the map, but does that show how good these 49ers are? And after the 49ers went on the road and won against the Rams on Sunday, well, the 49ers may be that good. Our pick for the NFC representing in the Super Bowl, still the early receipts. We obviously know that anything can happen between now and the final game, but they're looking good. And of course, the Dallas Cowboys as well. But for the Cleveland Browns, the big loss, not only on the scoreboard, but in their backfield. Nick Chubb out for the rest of the season, needing season ending knee surgery, just destroyed the knee he had injured before in college. Man, this guy can't catch a break. I mean, he's caught a break for a little while, but come on. Nick Chubb, you don't hear anything about him off the field. You only hear about him on the field, doing the right things, getting production. Last night, averaging 6.4 yards of carry until he was hurt. Man, now he's gone for the season. This is just sickening, man, for a guy
Yeah,
that comes across as the consummate good guy.
yeah, it's damn near tragic, man. I don't know if you saw the play or the replay of the play. I saw it, and when I saw it, I was like, damn, why did you look this up? It was ugly, man. My heart goes out to that guy. It
Man.
was a devastating knee injury. Obviously, he's out for the season, but I hope he's able to recover.
Mm-hmm.
But as bad as it looked, I don't know what he's going to be like when when he comes back, when his knee's actually healthy, how healthy he'll be. Um, I just wish him the best, man. That is very unfortunate.
Yeah, you see some of these injuries that have been happening, not just recently, but even with Alex Smith, and you're talking about possibly losing a leg because of injuries. Well, you see an injury like that, and we've seen injuries on Monday Night Football before. Napoleon McCallum years ago, same thing with the Raiders with the ostrich leg. I was like, wow, that pretty much ended his career. But man,
Yeah,
you're talking
that
about
was
the
Ken
same.
Norton, a little bit out of line in my opinion. He was already stopped, and he just had to do the extra and pull him backwards. And
Yeah, bruh, the ostrich leg, man. And they showed that over and over. There was like ESPN doesn't want to show it because it was so gruesome.
yeah, how
But
many times did they show Theismann and
thighs
his
in the
leg?
break, Tim Crumry in the Super Bowl when his leg was waving to the crowd, the
And
whole deal.
now they're saying we're not going to show it. It's too gruesome.
We're
And
sensitive.
if you heard the crowd grasp, it was because they showed no kidding. They showed the replay. We're football fans. We know what the hell happened. We don't
And
need
at
you to
least the
tell us they
Steelers,
showed it at the stadium.
yeah, it's the Steelers got back on track though. On their winning ways, at least getting their first win at home. And T.J. Watt, being still one of the most dominant players in the NFL, gets a sack. And by getting the sack yesterday, he sets a new Steelers record with 81 and a half sacks, passing James Harrison of all people. I mean, he's a great player. I knew it going into the pros. We saw that he was a great player in college, and I didn't think he'd be this great. I mean, he's great, not good. He's great.
Yeah, we gotta see how Deshaun Watson responds now. That running game is going to be somewhat limited. I mean, you just lost a badass running back, so you saw they had some trouble yesterday. Is he going to be able to step up? We'll find out, obviously, but he hasn't shown that he's still got it in him.
No,
I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Hey, he's still coming back. He took a year and a half off or whatever. Hey, no more of that. You need to get it done.
And I was about to mention that Deshaun Watson does not look like he's improving. I don't even think he's improved upon what he used to be before he was out for a while, let alone improving from when he just came back and doing what he's doing now. And even last week, they need a running game, and they had an effective running game, and he's still not playing the way I thought he would play, even in the second game of the season. I think he's caught up to speed. He did play in the preseason, but he's not doing anything special. They've brought him even more weapons, and he hasn't done anything special on the team yet. And I don't know how it's going to look, but as far as running backs for the Cleveland Browns, what are they going to do now? What are they going to do now? I've heard names bantered about. Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is possibly one of the names they came up with. And then Cam Akers, who's with the Rams right now, but they're looking to trade him. At least word out is they're looking to trade him. But I'm thinking about, why do you have to go outside? Why don't you just go with the guy that's already on your team? Someone who's been in practice, someone that you're pretty familiar with, and the guy who picked up the ball last night and kind of continued what Nick Chubb had done. Jerome Ford, 106 yards. He averaged, 6.6 yards a carry. Jerome Ford, I mean, he might be someone new to people who don't know of him, but going back to college, he was a Heisman Trophy candidate for about 4 weeks. So he was showing that ability at the University of Cincinnati. And before that, remember, I don't know if you remember, but he left Alabama. So he was a top running back going there to go to Cincinnati and was pretty damn good at Cincinnati for quite some time until it kind of mellowed out. But he still ended up with spectacular numbers, got himself drafted. I think this is someone who can carry the load, especially the way they're using running back these days. And even with the way they're using running back these days, you don't have to have a lot of carries to get an injury. Nick Chubb just proved that. I think he had about, 10 carries, and the injury came about.
Yeah, even if Ford can, or if he does pan out and produce and be productive, they're still going to need someone else in that running back room. It's awfully thin right now.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Now, as far as bringing someone in like those two guys I just mentioned, with Cam Akers being a possibility if he's traded.
I think Hunt's the way to go. You don't have to trade for him.
Yeah, you don't have to trade for him. But Kareem Hunt, being a guy that can come in, hasn't been in for a while. But I think, that second guy, I still think even in today's NFL, even though the value of the running back isn't the same, there's times when you still need that running back that's going to be that one constant that you can get down the field with, especially now with Deshaun Watson not playing the way we're expecting him to play, improvement-wise. Let's hope that he continues to improve, I guess, for Cleveland's sake, not our sake, his sake. But all the money's guaranteed, so for the organization's sake. And I think Jerome can get the job done. I've seen him play, and now we got a chance to see him play a little bit yesterday in the NFL, and he's doing well. I mean, even going back, you see some of these players and the way they've played, running backs that were supposed to be kind of good, and you just didn't know until they got their chance. Sometimes they showed flashes, sometimes they didn't, and then you just can't get a beat on them. Well, you look at DeAndre Swift up in Philly. He's absolutely murdering it 2 weeks in a row now. And I was a little disappointed with his development in Detroit. I thought he would be a good back coming out of Georgia. But now I think he's found his spot. And Jalen Hurts, being the quarterback he is and kind of having that running threat, kind of makes people loosen up a little bit in the pass and the run, giving the running back opportunities. That's happening there. But, yeah, Nick Chubb, man, just an seemingly overall good guy out for the season is going to really affect the Browns unless someone could step in. Next man up. Maybe James Ford is the next man up. Jerome Ford is the next man up. And you got, some other players that are out there as well. So, and then the other game you're talking about, the obscure game, the Panthers taking on the Saints. Like no one was watching. And did they need to? Because Derek Carr didn't play well in that game either. And
I tried telling you, man, my friend's a Raiders fan, and he trashed Derek Carr for years. And I'm telling you, I got to take his word for it. I mean, I don't think he's going to be that productive for the Saints.
Well, I never thought he was a superstar quarterback. I thought he was a very good quarterback, or even a solid quarterback as he's proven to be in the NFL. That's why I wanted him for the Jets, because we see what Zach Wilson is. We already know what Zach Wilson is. And anything, I believe, right now is better than him. So if Derek Carr would have come to New York and just given us something, even the numbers he just put up yesterday would have probably been something for the defense to still get some rest and not be on the field for over 41 minutes like they were against Dallas. But aside from that, Derek Carr, And then the Carolina Panthers have a bye week or a bye season because you have a rookie quarterback. You would like to see him improve, and Bryce Young is trying to improve. They're trying to put as much talent around him as possible, as they should, but it's going to take some time, and it's going to be during the season as you may see incremental improvement, or maybe a throwaway season, and then that improvement happens the next season. Yeah, but yeah, no one really cared about the game, but still, it goes with some mention. A 20-17 win for the Saints. Bad numbers for Derek Carr. Still a win for the Saints, though.
I don't. I'd like to know what made the NFL think that'd be a good game to put on Monday night.
I don't
Who
know.
who 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 made that decision?
The NFL is making a bunch of decisions these days. I don't think people agree with. But right now, we got that game. But luckily, the game that was the paramount game, unfortunately, with an unfortunate injury for Nick Chubb, two historic teams, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, both out there, gave a very good game. And, the Steelers are on track. The NFL is always better if the Steelers are on track, and it looks like they may be heading towards some good things. I still think Baltimore is going to win the division. I still think Baltimore, as it stands right now, week 2, obviously a lot more to go. Maybe.
Yeah, the jury's still out on Pickett, man. I'm not sold on him.
You know what? And I was sold on him coming into the NFL. This is just his second year. We typically give the third year, but as it stands right now, he's showing some improvement. He had nowhere to go but up after last week. So he's starting off right here. Let's see how next week goes, and then the rest of the season. I still think he's the guy. He had the maturation, an older quarterback when he came from Pittsburgh. One of these guys that did all his time at Pittsburgh instead of just jumping the ship early. So yeah, I think that he's going to get better. Now, what kind of better? Is he Ben Roethlisberger better? I don't know.
Mitch Trubisky better?
And Mitch Trubisky, coming out of North Carolina, I don't know. The Jets
No,
were.
that's a bad shot. I apologize, Mr. Pickett. I take it back.
I know you had to look at that guy, man. But and this kind of there's really no relations in terms of looking at what Pickett is doing right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the way he played last night in the win at home. But something else in the NFL that we didn't get a chance to talk about yesterday was someone was killed at a game on Sunday. The Dolphins and Patriots got together, and it's a rivalry, AFC rivalry, but someone got a little bit upset at the game, and it was a Dolphins fan who won the game who hit a Patriots fan, killing him. That's insane.
That's totally crazy, man. I'd like to know what was said, but I'd also like to know what kind of experience does the dude have fighting. I mean, because he literally landed a death blow.
Yeah, you know what? When you're going out there and you're probably fighting other drunk people, just landing is good enough. I don't think there's a strategy to it other than hitting the guy in the face. That's what you want to do. I don't even know how it even got to that point to where he's arguing in a game that you won. How do you get to a point to where you have to punch somebody with probably everything you had at a time like that and KOing the guy and killing the guy? And that's just, I don't know, that goes beyond me. Now, we've seen things like that happen, at least fights at games. Even a hockey game, I believe, when the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. Well, the Madison Square Garden crowd wasn't having that. One of the fans hit one of the Lightning players, pretty much knocked him out. And I don't see the point in doing this. Yeah, you could get a little riled up, and I'm not going to say that teams, fans of rival teams going away, watching these games away, should have to fear for their lives. They shouldn't even have to fear for their safety, let alone their lives.
Yeah, that I don't know, man. In Europe they got the hooligans and stuff. I hope that's not the direction our NFL is going.
Yeah, imagine that. The hooligans in the United States. We have enough hooligans in the United States. Luckily, most of them can't afford to go to a game. Maybe they'll wait outside for you. They'll wait outside the stadium. Wait till this game is over. We're going to see you after this game. But that's just a terrible thing that had going down over there. And that's, I don't know. There's nothing really to be said in terms of right or wrong. It's completely wrong. But condolences once again for something in the sports realm. If we're not talking about athletes passing or something like that, we're talking about fans passing, coming together to watch an NFL game. And we're only in the second week. And we're not even talking about two teams who have a reputation of
Playoff game or AFC championship game.
and that wouldn't even be the right thing to do under those
Right, but I'm
circumstances.
saying
Yeah,
tensions would be higher in
a
those
much higher, so
situations.
much something on the line, and it's not even one of the traditional so-called bad teams like the Philadelphia Eagles or the Las Vegas Raiders, or when they were in Oakland. They're talking about having a jail underneath the stadium and all that stuff for people who are unruly. Man, this is Miami and this is the Patriots, and it was in Gillette Stadium. Man, that's the last place you would expect it. I know when the Yankees and Red Sox get together, you have a couple of things here and there, but I don't believe anyone was killed yet or has been killed in the past. But yeah, it's just pathetic how it goes down, and people taking it a little bit too far when they're supposedly doing it for their team's honor. Now you're going to get locked up. You ruin families your own because you're locked up, his family because he's gone. A whole mess, just a complete morass.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, man. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and another thing that may be unfortunate is the NFL Players Association, the president, J.C. Treader, has been said, and the NFL is filing a grievance against the Players Association this time around. Normally, it's always the Players Association coming with some kind of a grievance of their own. This time, it's the NFL with their grievance, saying that players, running backs in particular, have been advised by J.C. Treader and maybe others in the Players Association of faking injuries just to get leverage, because as we've talked about now for months, the low value of running backs and the devalued running backs of today.
What leverage does it give them? You're injured, you're not playing, so what? You're going to get more money? That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, you fake an injury and then you act like you could probably play the next week. You can tell the doctor, I'm feeling a little better, or you could just continue to say, I don't feel good at all. I don't feel like good at all, depending on how negotiations are going. I don't know. Maybe that might be something, but that's I don't know. The integrity of the
That
game has
doesn't
been
make sense to
compromised.
me, man. It's like we're negotiating. You're injured. Why should I give you a contract? Oh, but I'm feeling better. Well, okay. Well, here's a contract. You might not like it, but here's a contract. Oh, I feel worse now. Well, okay. Now I withdraw the offer. How about that?
It might not be one of those injuries like Nick Chubb, who has a real serious injury. It could be something like a hamstring. You could fake a hamstring. You don't want to.
Real injuries are real injuries. I'm talking about people faking injuries, pretending they're hurt when they're not hurt. And, that's the age-old question in football. Are you hurt or are you injured? There's a difference. You can play hurt. You can't play injured.
But when you're talking about a hamstring, of course, you don't want karma to come back to bite you if you're one of these people faking a hamstring, because ultimately it will happen, and then you'll have to go through what you go through. But, my hamstring is sore, as opposed to I can't move my hamstring, depending on the sun, depending on the clouds, depending on whatever time of day it is, and they've been accused. And you kind of look back at it, and I think the NFL is trying to make a case for someone, like Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis. He's coming back from ankle surgery. I guess in their estimation, or even previously before the season, he was supposed to have been back by now, but now there's been some type of delay to where he's now on the pup, and he'll come back maybe after 4 weeks, or does he if he's not traded? Does he come back? I doubt he's going to get traded. And then you have, other players out there who've had their injuries and they haven't come back, or Saquon Barkley. He was one of those players who was looking for that raise this past offseason. We talked about that several times. He gets less than $1 million raise. Obviously, he didn't want to sign the franchise offer, but he does almost that. And now he has his injury, and now he's out for a little longer than expected. So, you look at the player, and then you look at their background, their history, recent history, and you look and you correlate it with, okay, this guy was just complaining about money. Now he has an injury that looked bad on paper, but you know what? He normally could bounce back, but now it's weeks instead of probably a week.
It remains to be seen. I don't think it makes sense. I would never advise anybody to pretend you're hurt. I don't see how that helps your situation to get paid. The only way you're going to get paid is if you go out there and produce.
Well, the other part of the leverage is if this is the only back they have that's productive, staying out longer, and now seeing what the strain on the team is going to be, especially a team that can offer that franchise tag. And there's nothing wrong with it because a team can do it at any time, or someone who's probably going into a final year of a deal, and that's the leverage you want to deal. And then you give a team a chance to see how poorly they may do without you. And then you kind of get healthy all of a sudden in about 3 weeks. And you know what? All right, we need this guy badly. We'll give him what he needs or close to it and put him back out there. I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah, but if your replacement is doing fine and they're not missing you, well, now you're fighting for carries. You're fighting
and
for
that's
snaps.
probably true. But a lot of time, and I think running backs for the most part are probably the most replaceable players on the team, because running backs are kind of sort of a dime a dozen. I don't think we're just saying that. The numbers are kind of proving it out now when you see how these teams are looking at these running backs and compensating the running backs. And we've talked about how since 2015, the running back position is the only one that's pretty much has been stagnated in terms of its movement and with the franchise tender. Punters have gone up, kickers have gone up, receivers obviously, quarterbacks definitely, defensive ends, defensive tackles, offensive linemen, running backs pretty stagnant over that time. And so, yeah.
Maybe that's why Bijan got the big contract. Maybe because he's not going to get it when his contract is up, right?
And that's what I'm thinking now. Look at somebody like Melvin Gordon. J.K. Dobbins just went down again for Baltimore. They signed Gordon just this past offseason for just over $1 million. This is someone who I thought when he came out of Wisconsin was going to be a terror. He never really hit that. He's been solid and sometimes good, but he's never really hit that. I think he's going to be great now, or at least a great opportunity for him in Baltimore now that he'll get a chance to share some carries. But yeah, he's just over $1 million since when? I mean, you look at all of these running backs that are getting this little bit of money, and you have a rookie who's getting paid the most for this season, Bijan Robinson, more than Christian McCaffrey. And we talked about just yesterday, Christian McCaffrey possibly being Offensive Player of the Year in the NFL, MVP.
Yeah, I think if he stays healthy when his contract is up, he'll get paid. But that's because he's a Swiss Army knife. He does it all.
Does everything. Of course, you'll have the tribesmen coming out saying other things, but we see his production. We have seen his production from his college days till now. Other than the injuries interfering with him when he was with Carolina, they haven't been the same way now that he's back in the West Coast where he came from in Stanford. And he's been nothing but productive. Still week 2, still a grind, an extra game in the NFL being 17 games now. But I still think Christian McCaffrey, obviously the best running back in the NFL, because he does everything, not because he does it better between the tackles. He is blazing fast and doesn't get enough credit for that, but he does so many other things and willing to do other things like block as he's done. So yeah, man, this does sound kind of crazy that the Players Association is telling running backs who fake injuries, and the NFL filing a grievance makes it even more, I don't know, sketchy. Do you want to call it even sketchy? The NFL, wow, to come up with that. It's usually the other way around.
Who's the NFL to throw around accusations? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's usually the other way around. The NFL's trying to screw the players all the time. Now the NFL claims that the players are screwing them, and they did have some bringing up Jonathan Taylor, bringing up Saquon Barkley. These are guys who had grievances with their teams before this season started, and to bring their names up is pretty convenient right now.
I don't know.
It doesn't make their case, but it kind of raises an eyebrow. Like, there may be something to it. We don't want to go into conspiracy theory, but there's something to it, and we'll see how it plays out. And we know how that's going to go down. So that gives us a chance to go from there. The NFL season, week 2, completely done with. Moving on from there, obviously football starting back up on Thursday for the NFL. So that gives us a chance to slide back over into a little bit more college football. At least what has happened last week, and because it's news, not because you want to keep talking about what happened last week in college football, even though there's something to be said. But Colorado State's Henry Blackburn has been receiving death threats because of what he had done to Travis Hunter with that late hit. We talked about that yesterday. The late hit, obviously egregious, and he should have been thrown out the game. He got the flag that he deserved, probably even missed some of the next game. But death threats, man, come on now. Even Deion Sanders is standing up for this kid.
Right. Yeah, respect to Coach Prime, speaking out He's saying what he did doesn't constitute death threats. He's still a kid trying to make it in this world. I don't remember the exact quote, but Dion's like, leave the kid alone. And you can only respect that. Being the opposing coach, he's going to fight for his guy. I'm sure he wasn't happy about the situation. And I know he's not happy about losing Travis Hunter for a few weeks. But looking at the bigger picture, you don't want that kid being terrorized. He's a college student. These should be the best days of his life.
Yep. I mean, he's a football player. And you know what? Even Travis Hunter said, you know what? He did what he thought he had to do. You know what I mean? Because it's football. At some point, somebody's going to get hurt. This is Travis Hunter saying that, the guy who got hit. And not only did he get hit, and not only is he out for a couple of weeks, we don't even know how many weeks now. In the beginning, it was 3 weeks. Now they don't know how many weeks. He has a lacerated liver. A lacerated liver from that hit. That's serious business right there. The liver does regenerate pretty quickly. Luckily, if you know biology, it does regenerate pretty quickly. But for regular people, yeah. But to go back out and play football and do what he's done, playing on both sides of the ball, taking the hits he has taken as a defensive back, making tackles, a receiver getting tackled, I don't know. But yeah, man, a lacerated liver. I didn't think it was that bad. It was that bad.
Yeah, I wish him the best. I don't know if what conference is the Colorado State in?
The Mountain West, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. Can the Mountain West suspend him? So he wasn't thrown out of the game to be like, you know what, that was a malicious hit. It was egregiously late. You need to sit 1 or 2 games.
I didn't even think about that.
No death threats, but a suspension, I think is warranted.
You know what? That's for sure. I never even thought about that, because in the NFL, if there's something really egregious and there's a flag thrown, it still goes to the commissioner's office at some point.
I mean, considering it's at least 3 weeks, possibly more, it wasn't a bang bang play. It was a malicious
hit,
egregiously late hit.
Yeah, a malicious hit with malicious intent, and he got the result that he wanted. He got him out of the game. Still lost the game, but got him out of the game, and now he's out for the Oregon game. He's going to be out for the USC game. He's going to be out for other games that really matter. So, yeah, and he's a big part of that team, offensively and defensively, running punch back too. The guy did everything. You're talking about Christian McCaffrey being a Swiss Army knife. This is what he was for Colorado. But,
they're going to have to make Swiss Army knife.
Pretty much what he is. And like Coach Prime just said, he's like, hey, next man up. You brought all of these guys in for the next man to come up, not to pout over the star player that is left. Well, this is your chance now to be a star. Now, we now know that there isn't going to be one player to replace him.
He needs 2 players to replace him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he and Shador were saying the same thing. We need 2 guys to replace him. And Prime even says that, we know that one guy isn't going to do it. We're going to have guys, plural, who are going to have to step up. I mean, you're on scholarship too. You want to have a chance to shine. There's an opportunity for you to shine. And when Travis Hunter comes back, if you're doing well enough, y'all can shine together, with the rest of the team.
So speaking of Coach Prime, did you see he says he doesn't want Shiloh and Shador to go to the NFL?
Whoa, I
didn't read the article. It was just a headline, like implying he doesn't think they're ready. I don't know about Shiloh, but I think Shador is ready. I said that yesterday. But he could be looking at who the bad teams in the NFL are, and the Bears are up there. And he's like, no, he can't go to Chicago, son. Stay in school. Look what they're doing to Justin. Look what they did to Trubisky. Their best quarterback in history may have been their running back, Walter Payton. He threw better dimes than Bob Avellini and Vince Evans in those days.
Vince Evans got a name for
not until Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon was decent, but he couldn't stay healthy.
Yep.
I wouldn't want my son, who's a quarterback, going to Chicago. But I just think it's interesting him telling the media.
See, this might be a little bit of gamesmanship on Prime's side. Knowing what's coming out there. We already mentioned it before the season started. The Cardinals are on the clock, and you know what? With Kyler Murray playing the way he's been playing, maybe you need a new quarterback, but because of the money they had given him, do you bring in another quarterback, especially if it's going to be the number 1 pick overall? Now, is Shador a number 1 pick overall quality player? I don't think so at this point. I think he's made improvement from what I've seen at Jackson State, and I watched him the entire time he was at Jackson State because I did cover HBCU football. And then now watching him on the grand stage with more talent around him to pass the ball to. In the beginning, 510 yards. But in my opinion, and I don't think it's an opinion, watch the game, dumping it off, letting out athletes out athlete other athletes, and not necessarily reading from left to right. And when he did, he was sacked 4 times. But then finally against Nebraska, looking from left to right, making those plays, not just heave hoeing it down the field all the time. And then the last game, that 98-yard drive that won the game, well, he arrived.
Yeah, even in overtime, or was it the 2-point conversion? I think it was the 2-point conversion. They ran the RPO, and he saw his guy coming open. He didn't stick with the play fake. He pulled the ball out and threw it right away. He's like, my man's open. You don't see a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL do that.
Nope, the quick hit. I mean, they needed the quick hit that was designed for Zach Wilson just to hit Garrett Wilson the other night. This wasn't even designed. This was just a heads-up play. Just get the ball out of there and just get it out of there.
Right.
Luckily, the receiver's waiting for it. But yeah,
and things like that, that's why I say he's ready, because he anticipates things and he reads defenses. He moves the safeties with his eyes, and he gets his receivers open by doing that.
Now, right now, arm strength wise, from what you've seen, do you think he has the arm strength to be an elite quarterback? I don't think you really need the arm strength because Bryce Young isn't known for his arm strength. He's more cerebral, but he has some arm strength, at least in his early years. Drew Brees was the same kind of player when he was in Purdue. He didn't necessarily have the arm strength. That's why he went the second round and not the first, but still turned out to be a Hall of Famer nonetheless.
Well, he doesn't have a Brett Favre arm, but he doesn't lack. He does not lack arm strength. That's for sure.
Oh no,
Where are we going to rank him among quarterbacks with great arms? I don't know, but watching him, I see him making all the throws that he needs to make. I think his arm strength is fine.
I think the jury's out on him only because of the teams that he's played. The name teams.
Right, he has to do it against better competition.
Yeah, do it against Oregon. Do it against Oregon. I think this is the game right here. And I went on record yesterday saying that this is probably going to be the beginning of Colorado's 2-game losing streak with Oregon on the road and then USC coming to Boulder because USC is that good for a Pac-12 team. A lot of Pac-12 teams are doing very well this year. 8 of them in the top 25, more than any other conference. And, of course, who do they play and all the other? But they're absolutely obliterating the team they're supposed to obliterate in most cases. Oregon did have that little problem against Texas Tech a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? But anyways, Colorado, I like to see him against the better competition. And even if he doesn't play well, I'm not going to automatically say, see, he sucks, because there are people out there who are waiting for that moment, first of all, for Deion to get his first loss, and then for Shedeur to not look good because, look, he's guilty by association. He's Deion Sanders' son. He has a little bit of a mouth on him, so they're not going to like him. Whoever they aren't going to like him anyways. So you know what? It doesn't matter. He's going to go out there. If he catches his L, come out the next week. And if you catch another L, you got a next week until this season's over. He's not going to continue to catch L's and look bad the entire season.
Yeah, well, Colorado is so loud, right? Deion and now the players are following his lead.
Absolutely.
They're in your face, and that can be a little annoying, especially when they're winning. And I think I mentioned it yesterday. When you're like that, you should respect a reaction sometimes, right? You get coaches throwing shade, and the player hit Hunter late. I'm sure that's because of all the confidence and the swag and the talking and all of that. But when the rubber hits the road, Coach Prime's out there saying, "Hey, leave that kid alone."
He's standing up for his players, and that's going to go a long way.
Right, but he's also standing up for the Colorado State player.
Yeah, he's standing up for the Colorado State.
So right is right, wrong is wrong. You may not like the brashness, the confidence, the swag, and all that, but Deion is still right is right, wrong is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he said, "Oh, good, I'm glad he's getting death threats. That was a dirty ass hit." No, he's not doing that. He's saying the right thing, and you can only respect that. And even though I found myself cheering for Colorado State that game. Like I said, I got nothing but respect for Coach Prime. I'm not gonna say I agree with all of it, but I just respect it, man. I'm not gonna throw shade at him. I can't.
I remember when he came to Jackson State and, covering HBCU, seeing him go to Jackson State, I thought it was going to be a clown show. I thought it was one of these things he was coming because he was the big name, and anything like him coming to any HBCU is going to get a bunch of news, whether within the HBCU community or just overall. And he brought a lot of light that really helped HBCUs. And it got to a point to where now Eddie George is coaching at Tennessee State, another HBCU. He's not doing the same things that Prime is doing. This lets me know that Prime, not only does he have the ability to get the players, the X's and O's, and Eddie George knows X's and O's too. He played in the NFL for a long time, but it lets you know that Deion knows how to manage a team, and he's showing it down there in the SWAC with an HBCU. Of course, the SWAC isn't one of these Power 5 conferences, but now he's in the Power 5 conference doing the same thing. Yes, Oregon is coming. Yes, USC is coming, but he's still doing the same thing. I don't think anything he's doing in terms of the way he's approaching the game is going to change. And it's only going to get better because this guy is promoted more than any coach, period. Right now, he's more popular than Nick Saban. Nick Saban had 7 championships to show for. Deion doesn't have any on the college level. In fact, Deion says, man, he wants to get as much as he can from Nick Saban in terms of learning. And Deion, right now, this moment, the most popular coach in the country. I think you talk about him more than even Belichick right now. I don't see Belichick on 60 Minutes.
I heard on the radio this morning that the president of Ukraine had like 1.2 million viewers, and Deion had over 2 million viewers. There are more people interested in Deion's interview than the president of the Ukraine. But that's crazy because 60 Minutes isn't a sports show.
No.
So that's like just random people, not even sports people. I saw the promotions. I'm like, I ain't watching 60 Minutes. So I didn't watch. But a whole lot of people did.
Yeah, and I saw the 60-minute clip on YouTube just for the Deion Sanders clip. Had over 2 million the last time I saw it. And that was like, earlier yesterday or late yesterday? So it's probably even more today. He's just this magnetic force in college football, personality-wise. They love to hate him for the ones who hate him, and the ones who love him love to love him, and you're glad he's on your side. And if you're one of the fans of Colorado, you're just glad he's your head coach, and he's going to help you get better, and you're hoping that he never leaves. He claims he's never going to the NFL, but we've seen how money works. And for a guy who made a song called It Must Be the Money, maybe he's matured from those days, but it must be the money because Colorado played more than Jackson State, and he's in Colorado now. A whole lot more than Jackson State. I think it was more than just a money thing with Jackson State. I think it was an infrastructure thing with Jackson State.
I don't know if he'll be successful in the NFL. You don't recruit players. There's a salary cap. They got to fit into that certain budget. You can recruit free agents, but you can't sign everybody. So, and that's his thing. He's able to attract talent. Maybe if the Bears get the number 1 pick or number 2 pick, 3 pick, whatever, and it looks like they're looking at Sanders, he's like, hey, I haven't pulled his name out the hat unless you make me the coach.
Wow.
But other than that, I don't know if he'll go to the NFL.
I don't even think he'll do a power play like that. That would be a crazy thing. It would be media worthy because people would jump on top of it. But I don't even think he would do a power play like that. The more I listen to Deion now, the more I believe what he's saying. I mean, not just as a player who believes, but this guy, his intentions seem to be legitimate. Sometimes you can tell when someone says one thing and they mean another. They have this other agenda in the back of their mind, and they throw it on you at the last second. But it seems like legitimately, because even when he came to Jackson State, he wasn't telling them I'm coming here because I want to straighten everything out and I'm going to be a lifer. He just came to Jackson State. He wanted to put that light on HBCUs, and because of that, HBCUs have gotten so much money, so many more opportunities. You get a Notre Dame playing at Tennessee State. That's a paycheck for them. You get these other teams in HBCUs playing these major schools. Of course, Bethune and FAMU still playing Miami. They were doing that before Prime. But now you're getting a lot of HBCUs getting ragdolled throughout the day on a Saturday against these bigger teams, but they're getting the money that's coming from it. these TV deals going to HBCUs now. And I've watched some HBCU football this past weekend. And, I still like it. But Prime is, he's doing exactly what he came to do, bringing light to whatever he's doing. He's religious now. You can see he's spiritual. And wherever he's going, he's letting it glow. And they're just coming to him like flies. I mean, well, should I just say like what?
Piper.
The light. But that's
and you know what? I was wrong last week. I said he's not on the sideline with gold chains, and he is. I saw him Saturday with the big crucifix. It was a crucifix, not like dollar signs or anything.
He was putting a chain on his son. He was putting a chain on Shador. And back to Shiloh, by the way, his son, who also played at South Carolina first before coming to Colorado. I think he also was at Jackson State, but he's at Colorado. I mean, he's okay. He's going to be a decent defensive back. If I had to look at from what I've seen of him, he'll be like a 4th rounder, 5th rounder, safety most likely. And so, that's the talent I think he is. But Shador, he's going to be that 1st-round talent. Whether Deion's pushing him or not, and it's still going to come down to how well he does in, subsequent games, after this past game. So we're going to see how good he really is. I think the talent is there. And he also communicates with Tom Brady. He's been told things and mentored by Tom Brady so far. Bro, he has the best of the best. Mm-hmm. So, the opportunities will be there. He just has to come through the door and succeed with them. So, yeah, enough about the Prime talk because there's still college talk to go on for right now. Mel Tucker still in the news. I say, yeah, he's guilty. He's guilty because he admitted it, and that kind of triggers the morality clause in his contract. But I think the way they're painting him is the wrong thing. They're making it seem as this woman had nothing to really, like she has no real fault other than being a activist and him being on the other end of just being a pervert. It may be true on his behalf, but with her, the last call they had, 36 minutes, over 20 calls of over 30 minutes at nighttime. Now that we know what eventually happened, that last call apparently, well, it's reasonable to think from reasonable people that a lot of that might have been going on, and it may not have been solo as it's been painted for this last call.
Right. Well, I question if he's doing that and you don't want him to do that while you're on the phone, why didn't she hang up? I don't know. I like to know the answer to that. You mentioned the length of the phone calls.
Yeah.
30 minutes. Man, if I'm on the call and it's very uncomfortable, I'm not staying on the phone for 30 minutes. I'm like, yo, man, I gotta go. I'm not staying on the phone for 30 minutes.
See, she said she was shocked. She was just in disbelief. You just stood there with your eyes open, your mouth open for 36 minutes, like, okay.
Yeah, hang up the phone.
And then she gets descriptive about it because, of course, as this thing goes on, you're going to hear more details. Some of them you may not want to hear. She said she started hearing him moaning. She started hearing him groaning. She started hearing some lubrication in the back. What the hell are we talking about here? I mean, you hear all of this, so you can detail that. And the way it looks like she's turning it, it reopened wounds from the past of when she was assaulted by those 4 players. That's probably more of a reason to just hang it up and kind of rock back and forth and cry about it.
And if it happened more than once, the first time, okay, you're shocked. I can't believe it, and you're not thinking clearly. I give you that one. But then the second, third, fourth time, come on, man.
20th time?
Fuck out of here with that bullshit.
See, now I don't want to get to the conspiracy theory of why Michigan did it. He didn't have a great record the time he's been there. I think he's 20 and 17 or somewhere around there. 10 years, $9.5 million. That's $95 million for the duration of the contract. They saw where this was heading and they wanted to get the hell out of there. So I'm not going to say they set him up because I'm hearing enough conspiracy theories about that part of it. But I know it would be reasonable once again to think that they want to get the hell out of that contract, man. They know that's not money well spent. Going from the beginning, he did not deserve a contract like that. We've had coaches who've been lifers up to this point in terms of being a head coach.
But you don't ruin the guy's career and his credibility because you gave him a bad contract. That's on you.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it is on them. And it's up to them to be insidious and get out of that contract if they have to be, whether she's part of the plot or whether they're just happy about it or not happy about it, but thinking this is the way to go, I mean, I think that becomes the deal. And right now, he's been given 7 calendar days to give a reason to the athletic director and to the interim president of why they should keep him. They've already embarrassed this man. And other than the money, which is a big deal, that's a lot of money on the table. He's only had 2 years of that money. And he's been working without pay for the last now 10 days or 11 days now. So what is he going to, I don't know. Does he want to go back? How uncomfortable is it going to be if he does go back? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I'm still the coach, man. I'm still coach. Pay me. I don't know, man. If that was me, I'd be thinking about lawsuits. You can fire me or I'd fire me. Why would I want to go back? I don't know.
Yeah. The lawsuits are coming. The lawsuits are coming because he thinks he's been unjustly fired. But I'm thinking if there is a morality clause, as there was, once you admitted what you had done, that's pretty immoral. It's immoral only because you're married and you have kids. If you go outside your marriage in a perfect world, that's considered immoral. So there goes the morality clause triggering. You know, if you're not married or if you just got a side chick and you're not married at all, you're just doing all these other things that bachelors do, it's not as bad. It's still a bad thing because you have the contract and the profile you have on a major team like Michigan State in the Big Ten, and it probably embarrasses them. But I think they can live with it a little better under normal circumstances now with a 10-year, $95 million contract that they may want to get from underneath. They still may do something to get out of it when they realize that this ship is sinking pretty fast.
I think I know the answer, but then why is Urban Meyer's named at the top of the list whenever a coaching vacancy comes up?
Oh, Urban Meyer never admitted to whatever the heck he was doing in terms of something.
But like everybody knows he's creepy.
You know, we can't go with everybody knows. You know, you have to have something.
Everybody does know.
Everybody may know. I mean, we've seen the pictures now with what he did with the Jaguars at the club, but we saw him at the club. We didn't see him doing something, or even hearing one of those women said he had his hands on my ass, or I gave him my number and I heard groaning in the background. None of those women did that.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
We speculate that things are bad. Yeah, there's some people out there who can tell you another story about what Urban Meyer has done off the field, but as long as there's nothing on the record that's viable, that's going to really implicate him to where he can't get another head coaching job or any job someone wants to hire him when there's some type of standard with a clause, a morality clause, anything else. I don't know. I mean, you just can't say like, you know, in the boxing world, everybody knows. Well, that's what I'm asking you because I didn't know. So you're wrong there. So, but then, you know, I hear that.
You know, he's a creep, man. Come on, that dude is creepy.
I've heard.
You know it.
I've heard he is, and he may be.
You heard ears?
Yeah, I've heard he is. And he
is. My bad.
I heard he is, and he may be. But we now know because it has been admitted by Mel Tucker himself about what he had done. Doesn't help him. But let's not act like this is a one-way street. She was part of this too, and not just being a victim of the assault that she had 4 years ago. I think she was complicit. I think there might have been some type of a relationship they had. And he wasn't going to leave his wife, regardless of what he had said about his wife. It's a terrible marriage and all that. You know, some guys say that just to get inside. They do that. That's just how the world of insidious natures go. And then when he did not leave his wife or did not give her the attention she may have wanted, that a coach making $95 million over the course of 10 years could do, he left her alone. But by the way, even after he had done it, allegedly, well, he did it because he said he did it. 3 months later, she sends him a happy Father's Day deal. So was it really that traumatic?
See, it doesn't jive, man. It doesn't jive.
No, it's more to it, obviously, and we'll get around to it when that news come out because everybody else will be diving into it. Why don't we do the shallow dive too? Because I think it is shallow. So football, college football starting up. Wednesday is coming. We'll come with another show tomorrow. You already know what the deal is with that, but we'll close out with these two stories.
I want to address something.
Yeah.
I was going through some of the comments on our videos today, and one comment, somebody typed, the guy who said such and such. Hey, look, there's a name right there in the bottom left corner for both of us. His name's Trav. I'm biased. Be specific. Don't say the guy who said such and such. The name's on the screen, man. I can understand if it's Spotify and you're listening and you may not know our voices because you're new to the show, but I'm biased. He's Trav. Get it right.
And what are they whining about now? We talked about one of the whiners the other day who claims he's one of the best trolls of ever because he claimed I trolled him, or just responding to him and not telling him what he wants to hear was considered trolling in his deluded world, because he claims we didn't know enough about 80s boxing to speak about it when it came down to comparing Floyd Mayweather to these fighters from the 80s. The four kings, one of the four kings, we were talking about Hearns in one instance. Aaron Pryor in another instance, who wasn't one of the four kings, but definitely prominently known. And he comes at us like we don't know anything because what we're saying is not what he believes. Bro, make your case. Even come on this show, make your case. Don't just name call and claim you're the king of trolls and I'm going to regret it and all this other nonsense you're coming up with that makes you sound important, because you're not.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we want feedback, but we don't want trolls. Maybe we're just close to blowing up because we got some haters now. I don't know.
Well, what constitutes a troll now? Telling somebody what they don't want to hear. 1 + 1 is 2. I don't know, man. I don't really think so. Well, it is 2. You need to check, man. Why are you trolling?
But when a guy comes on your video and says that the people in the video are trolling him, what? That makes no sense.
So leave me alone.
We don't know you. If you were on the video with us, then I could understand. But you're commenting on our video, bro. Nobody's trolling you, man. You ain't that important.
Well, you're not important at all. If you're coming with nonsense, come with a point like so many people have come. We've had a lot of comments on certain videos, and people say things that are valuable and things that can go back and forth, even when they disagree. They can be sensible enough to disagree and make their point. And you know what? We can agree to disagree, or we may even change our mind if you have enough evidence that changes our mind. But anyways, people like that, they're going to always be out there, and something like the internet gives them that opportunity to do just that. But we're giving you the opportunity and anyone else to come on here.
I'm just saying,
make your case or whatever it is.
I'm just saying, if you want to come at us. Like, you don't say the guy who said, call me by name. My name is Bias. Say, Bias, you don't know shit. Say, I don't agree with this because of blah, 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 whatever. But don't be, man, just, if you're going to come at us. I'm Bias, he's Trav.
It's simple. It's simple, but people want to make it difficult, and I guess they have this, I don't know, these dreams of grandeur in terms of their overall personality. They think they're bigger than what they are, or think they're more important than what they really are. But anyway, let's talk about something, at least at the end of this, that's a little bit more important, with Ohtani, who won't pitch until 2025, but he will hit in 2024. Just had surgery today, Tuesday, on his elbow. I don't think it's Tommy John, but what other elbow surgery is there these days when it comes to baseball?
Man, just a month ago, we were talking how great Ohtani is, everything he was doing.
And he was.
We're talking about Ellie De La Cruz and Luis Ariz, and
it was great.
I don't even know what Ariz is hitting now, but it ain't 400. That's for sure. He's still a really good hitter. Ellie De La Cruz is still electric, but they're just not doing the same. I mean, the baseball world has changed in the last month.
Yeah, with something on the line, you don't have the usual cast of characters, the Boston Red Sox, the Yankees no longer being the teams. You have the Orioles now and the Rays. And now, with that being said, you have the Rays, who are getting a new stadium, I believe, in 2027. Is going to be about $1.2 billion. They're finally getting out of the Trop. If you've been to that crappy Trop,
watching it on TV, it looks like a dump.
I've been in there for the Shrine game years ago, with the college football Shrine game, and I was on the field. And it's, next turf like you would have, field turf. But the infield is rubber. It's like rubber, and it's just painted rubber. And I'm like, bruh, these balls probably go to 1,000 miles an hour when they hit the ground. Hitting the infield. But anyway, yeah, the Rays deserve it. I mean,
I hear it's only going to hold 30,000 though.
30,000, but rightfully so, because they're averaging 17,000 or so in attendance. And they have to have a lid because there's so much rain and hurricanes down that way. You have a rain out every day. You never play a game, so you got to have an indoor facility. Right now, the rafters is what's the catwalk, in fact, at the Trop is another reason why they want to get out of there, because you hit a pop fly, it hits something, the trajectory gets knocked off, it just ruins the baseball experience. But yeah, the Rays, I've always mentioned about their management and their ownership and the way they go about their business. They're a smaller market team. Tampa's not that small, a smaller market team, but they get the most out of their dollars, only to lose these players, these key players to
once their contracts come up.
Yeah, and when the Yankees can steal them, or the Chicago Cubs can steal them, or the Los Angeles Dodgers can steal them. Now Houston stealing players. Boston, the bigger teams, Philly. These are going to be
Diego.
Players. San Diego, yeah. When they decide to spend money, they spend money because they have it to spend. So, man, but I don't know because they have rabid fans, and they have a reason to be rabid, but they don't get the support they should get, I think, for the type of talent they've been putting out and the way they've been playing for several years. I mean, this isn't something new for them to play this well. They started off hot. They're still in the playoffs now, and they have a real opportunity going into these playoffs. But anyway, I'm glad to see that they're finally getting a new stadium. I've heard about their stadium for so long, and people didn't like it, and the traffic and all that other stuff. But yeah, they're getting this one. I think 2027 is when it's going to open up. And they should still be good by then. But by then also when some of their top players may be up for arbitration or up for trade eventually, contract over, big team take them away.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been there, but like I said, the stadium looks like a dump on TV. So,
oh yeah,
good for the Rays. Hopefully, the new stadium is state of the art and not such a dump. And I don't know if they can fill it. You said they average 17,000. I'm sure they'll probably fill it in if they get to the playoffs. But
yeah. Bandwagon fans,
30,000 for a stadium nowadays, that seems like a Cracker Jack box.
That's like AAA baseball. I tell you though, with them, I think, and I know some really die-hard Rays fans. I mean, one of my former boxers, UNF Boxing Club, Steve Pink, he's a big time Rays fan. I mean, he's been one for a long time when they weren't doing as well. So he's legit. He's from down in that general area anyway, so he knows what's up. But yeah, man, they have some fans down there for the people who want to go through those games, and even the transplanted New Yorkers who fill it up when the Yankees do come down. And that's what happens down there. But anyways, yeah, that'll be it for the show tonight. I'm Trav. He's Biased. We're going to see you on Wednesday. We haven't come up with what we're going to talk about this time around, but we do know what we're doing next Wednesday of next week. You already know. Canelo, Charlo, it's about to go down on the 30th of this month.
Cheetalo.
Cheetalo, man. Bro, you always got it in for Canelo, man. Bro,
he's a known cheater.
Take it back.
He's a known cheater.
Yeah, and that's how it's going to go. And let's see how this works out against Charlo. I hope it's a little bit more than the talk that's been going on. He's been saying a lot, but get inside that ring and those punches are for real from this guy 2 weight classes higher. Well,
it's like every other day I'm seeing a quote from Canelo, but he's not talking about the fight with Charlo. He's talking about Bevo asked for too much and
he's not even paying attention to Charlo.
Yeah, Bevo asked for too much. You just didn't want to pay more to get your ass whooped again.
Exactly, but I think that he deserved more, or at least an even split. He beat you pretty.
At least not the same. Canelo was offering him the same deal. You can't offer the same deal to the guy that beat you. Right.
Split it down the middle. I don't think there's any other way, and I think Bevo is right for not accepting it. Split it down the middle, at least for this time around. The problem is, and if anything else, yeah, let you go back up there and fight him so you don't lose your belt, because I know what this is all about. You want to keep your belts, and you will lose those belts if he comes down to 168, beats you, takes all your belts, and runs off. They'll splinter them all up, and you'll have to go through all of that again to get them back. Anyway, I'm Trav. He's Biased.
Charlo's going to lose one of his belts the second he steps in the ring.
Yep, the Tim Xu is going to get the belt. And you know what? That would be a nice fight to see him fight.
At least make him fight for it. Fight somebody. Even if it's not the number 2 contender, make the number 4 or 5 contender. Make him fight for it.
Fight Bud. But Bud wants Errol Spence at 147 and not 154. But
I think that's because he wants Errol to decline the rematch so he can go do what he wants to do. Because if he says 154, then he's got to fight Bud or Spence again, and that's going to delay his plans.
Yeah, and if there's anyone in boxing right now who's not afraid of a damn soul, we know what it is. It's Bud. If Bud says he wants to fight you, just sign the contract if you want. That's simple as that, man. That dude, he's coming to fight wherever he's fighting. This weight, that weight, moving up, talking Canelo. He's one of those cats right now at 147 who could talk about Canelo at 168, and you can believe it.
You know, it's crazy because Tank was talking about Bud. Bud says, man, if I fight him, you're going to say he's too small. Bud's talking about Canelo. Canelo says, well, if I knock him out, you're going to say he's too small. But, I mean, Bud's a different animal, man.
He's different.
He better focus on Charlo, man. Charlo could come out there, stick that jab in his face and move and give him angles. And, you know, Canelo, he's not the greatest boxer out there. People talk about, they say his skills this, his skills that. And he could always be outboxed. It's just a matter of his opponent taking his punch.
And you have to have the legs to do it because you have to move with Canelo because he's going to come forward. That upper body movement isn't what it once was because he was so good defensively with the upper body movement alone that made up for his slow feet of not being able to get after you, just walk you down. But now he doesn't use his body. At least that's how it's been the past couple of fights. And Bivol has made it look too damn easy. You know, and I know it had to do with all the measurables, being over 6 feet and having that jab and being a natural 175. Charlo can do a lot of the same, even if he's not going to hurt Canelo. I think he can at least get some respect while he's boxing. His legs are going to really have to be at their top game for him to even have a chance in this fight because that ring is going to sap that energy in addition to Canelo trying to get close, going to the body, and you know he's going to the arms like he did with Saunders. He's going to go to the arms. He's going to do like he did with Caleb Plant, go to the arms and try to make that thing happen. But anyway,
let's get that's next week. That's next week.
Exactly. Trav, he's biased. Until next time.